Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Today has been GT Amiga delivery day. We have the first pair of Preza racing gloves. They fit my hands. They're such a snug fit. Really snug, breathable, really grippy. Don't think I'm going to have any trouble wearing these at all. They are probably a little snug for now, but 100% they are going to be super good for my hands where I have my condition on my hands, and they are padded adequately in the areas that it needs to be, and I feel I'm going to be able to improve various aspects of my race game. Probably don't know how we're going to go, where we're going to reach for things, but we'll see how we do. It's a first time experience of using gloves while using a racing sim. You can see the padded palms prevent you getting calluses, where you can grip the wheel. Touchable, very touchable through the controls. But if you want to get a set, I know they're selling out really quickly. They are not the cheapest pair of gloves on the market, but using my discount code we can get you there. So use Widow at www.gtamiga.co.uk and get yourself a set of those gloves using my discount code. Let's get to the race. So welcome to the channel, folks. Today we're off to the circuit of Spa. We have a new car to use to enjoy the World Touring Car 800 in. So today's car of choice is the Jaguar XJR9 88. It comes just under the target, 799.98 on Racing Hards. 691 brake horsepower with a 7-litre displacement, just over 1,000 kilograms, and we've had to add a little bit of weight to make this car usable. So, fully customizable suspension, everything default, fully customizable differential, set to the magic 555. You should be used to that now. Downforce on the front, 812, just to tune the downforce to where we need to be. 1600 over the rear. Fully customizable ECU at 100, no restrictions. We're carrying 185 kilos of ballast right in the centre of the car, and you can see that gives us a 43% weight at the front, 57 at the rear. So we're going to try and hold that 691 brake horsepower down with a bit of weight. Power restrictor reduced to 70% because we've added a turbocharger. We've got a fully customizable manual transmission set to 370, everything default. We didn't change anything in the gear ratios. We've got a high RPM turbocharger and everything else is default. The brake controller is there for us to play with later on. Nothing else added. Let's get to the track. Now we're continuing the grind here at the World Touring Car 800, the 24 hours of Spa layout. Purely because there's a car that we want to go and purchase. It's 14 million. It's sat in the garage and we're on the rush to get it. I probably think we've only got a couple of days to get there and my schedule's getting tight, so let's get on with it. The settings today will be assist, traction control 1, weak ABS, counter steer assistance on strong, everything else off. Controller settings, we're on a controller steering sensitivity 5, force feedback max torque 7, force feedback sensitivity 7. We're actually using a G29, it'll be one of the last races we use it because the new wheel has arrived. And we're in a homemade, custom-built wooden rig, which, now that we've had the delivery from GT Amiga, it's on its last few days as our dedicated rig, but we will still be keeping it. We'll still be doing comparisons of, well, we're going to do a lot of comparisons of G29 versus Fanatec Extreme DD. We're going to start to be able to exploit the fact that we'll see how new equipment works. I'll get that experience myself. So with that being the case, let's make a start and let's get stuck into this race. As you know, folks, it could rain, it might rain. You never know. Fuel map looks a little bit suspectio. This car's going to absolutely rip, I think. Fuel is looking good. We're going to get 10 maps. That'll get us 10 laps. That'll get us to the rain. Probably a little bit long geared, but let's see how we go on the hard tyres. So it's gonna be a push to get this around and into the corners with the weight and the power. But the way the gears are worked, it should be fairly good for grip and acceleration. Should be able to really use it well in the rain. Mr. Solace just braking into the corners and being a bit awkward. Well, let's get a move on. 12 laps on the fuel now. We're probably going to push that brake balance just a little bit to the front. All the way to the front. A lot to the front. See if Mr. Bishop, he knows we're there and he just blocks us with the car. We're really getting to know these AR cars now. We're really stuck into the grinding. Stuck into it. I've been doing this game almost, well, over 2 years now. We've been sharing our experiences with the AI for many a months. These gloves don't hinder at all as to where we're going. They don't stop me touching anything, feeling anything. It's really good, really tactile. I have terrible problems with my hands normally because I don't have much touch sensitivity because of various injuries and a little condition with my hands, so I'm really quite surprised at how good these gloves are. There we go, first lap complete. See if we can keep up with Mr. Yamanaka and Miss McEwen. Back to the fuel map. 11.7 laps. A 2:04 isn't a slow opening lap. Oh, come on. I love the mirrors on those cars. They're so obvious. And you can see into the mirrors as well. It's beautiful. So, Mr. Mendoza and Mr. Rubilar. Let's see if we've slingshot past them both. We do, and we give Rubilar a little touch on the front. Just as we pull in there. No drama. Gonna get back onto the back of Mr. Grady. So as you guys know, if you've been stuck with this grind program, you'll be enjoying these cars too. And if you don't own them, most of these historics are only available in the Legend shop. So they only come up as and when they arrive. And you'll see the Mercedes SLK is in there today, or CLK, sorry. The CLK is in there today, and if you don't own that, get it bought. These Legends cars, these particular ones are not expensive. I believe the Escudo is in the Legend shop today. So if you don't own that, that's another one to get purchased. We won't be doing that in this race, but oh, Lord of mercy. You've got more front end damage. Let's just fight our way through. Up to 5th place, 15 seconds behind the leader. Mr. Fraga is pushing on. The late afternoon looks and feels great. It's feeling warm. Track's very dry as we just outbrake ourselves. Just on that weak ABS, we braked a little bit too late. So with weak ABS, you've got to brake that a little bit earlier, but you're not braking hard earlier. You're just getting on the brakes earlier and allowing the car to arrive at the corner in a more efficient way. Really quite difficult to explain how braking earlier is actually faster, but what you allow the car to do is to turn into the corner, get straight first, and be able to accelerate out of the corner in a straighter line. So you got power down longer and firmer. Up into 4th, chasing down Mr. Hizal, possibly Mr. Cookabun just in front of him. It looks to be the case. Fastest lap of the race is ours at 2:18.142. Not tremendously quick. 2:13 is where the records are. A 2:12 would be tremendously quick. With ABS weak, we're actually turning that into a double apex corner rather than a long hairpin. We always seem to overshoot that one, so let's just focus on that for a couple of laps. When we come to the corner, Mr. Hizal's gonna reduce a place. Mr. Cookabun should fall victim to us for the entry into this corner here. Oh, he doesn't. He actually goes a little bit longer. We'll sneak in front of him. Now we've got to chase down Mr. Fraga. 10.3 seconds away. Let's do that. The faster you can go on this circuit, you'll do so without touching the curbs. If you can avoid the curbs, you'll be quicker. Especially when it's wet later on. The moisture and the curbs don't mix. Gearing could probably be shortened up a little bit, just to make the car slightly quicker. But we're kind of relying on the current gearing to be good in the rain, so only 7 seconds down. A 2:13, that's coming back to where it needs to be. You'll find that when you're running in traffic, you'll really get slowed down. 9.4 laps running on the fuel. The turbo here really helps with that fuel economy. So let's talk about the braking positions for this car. As we've just come over through Eau Rouge, we braked at the bottom before we made the right hand turn up the hill. We braked about halfway up to the top of the hill and came through flat on the accelerator. We're going to brake just before the curbs on the left hand side as we go purple through sector 1. First gear to second gear, back on the gas, back on the brakes for a little snookel through that corner. Apex 1, don't use the curbs. We're going to brake just on the left hand side, just before the red and yellow curbs on the left, and then we're going to treat as a single line corner. As the wheels touch the curb on the right, we're going to brake down at first, back on the power. Mr. Fraga is now only 3 seconds ahead. Going to brake just before the 50 on the right. Down to second gear, really hold the car tight and back on the throttle early. Power the car through the corner. You can almost flat it all the way through. We're going to brake just as we go under the gantry. The shadow across the circuit indicates where the braking line is. We shouldn't use environmentals. Second gear around that corner, and then we're going to brake just before the curb on the left. Second gear, hold the car on the apex, allow it to run wide. Don't use the curb like he does. Quarter of a second almost up. We use the curb on the exit. We're now going to get on the power and follow Mr. Fraga through. We've got to be aware that he will tap the brakes before he goes to the corner. Can we? No, we're going to go. Yeah, we're going to go up the inside. Going to rub past him. No delaying. Brake just after the white line. Just a car length after. On to the first gear for the chicane. Back on the power. Change up before it delivers all the power. Come through the line. We don't improve on the lap time. We lost that time coming up behind Fraga, so let's see if we can do it again. We're going to start to extend the lead now. Check the rain. Nothing on the rain radar. The evening looks clear and bright. There's very little cloud about, if any. A little bit of haze. We're going to brake just as we enter the dip. For our third gear, back to fourth. Accelerate over the top and charge down the long straight. Going to brake just before the curbs on the left. Just a fraction behind our fastest time there. Back on the gas as the shadows start to lengthen. And as they lengthened, we actually missed our braking point there because the shadow had covered it. I couldn't see it. The back end just gave a little tweak there as we pull 6 seconds ahead of Mr. Fraga on the 50. Back to third, get the power down, let the car run wide. Brake as you go under the gantry. Big shadow under there now. That's why you don't use environmentals. You should use physical spots. This car drives very, very smoothly. Ooh, as we run wide a little bit onto the Arnco, but we gained half a second this lap, so let's see if we convert that. A 2:12 would be an exceptional lap. Tyre wear looks to be fairly decent. We've got the brake balance to the front to try and help arrest the development of the rear tyres to red. Brake as we go across the white line. First gear gets us into the corner. We overshoot a margin. We're going faster with the reduced fuel load, so we should probably brake before the white line now at 2:12.867 as we go on to lap 6. .11 seconds ahead of Fraga and some half a lap ahead of the slowest cars. Now, we didn't slow down at all going through Eau Rouge then. Top rain, top right hand corner, top northeast quadrant. .8 of a second up. Just as we're about to enter the dusk phase, with the rain coming, it looks like we've got 2 prongs of rain coming from the right hand side. Looks to be fairly slow as well. The wind isn't that great, but it's double the strength at 4.4 meters per second. It's usually around the 2.3, 2.6 region. So with that wind, it's actually looking like it's picking up. Let's see how we go here. Check the next sector time, see if it's purple. It is by 0.8 of a second, so that run through Eau Rouge really gave us the head start we needed to try and take a 2:11. Which would absolutely be epically enormous for this car. A real prover of capabilities. As we go 19 seconds ahead of Fraga. A 2:11. Absolutely awesome. Get the car into the corner, use the brakes to make it turn. Now I really don't know what's happening with this rain now. We've got fuel to keep running. Tyres look fairly decent, so if we need to keep the pressure on, we'll do that. Turned in, no brakes. Really starting to get the confidence with the car now. It looks like the leaf of a 4-leaf clover, doesn't it? There, that cloud bank. We're starting to see clouds in the sky. Just a fraction slower than our previous lap through there as the lights come on. So do our headlights. We've got the lights on the grandstands down the bottom of the circuit. We can see the start finish straight on the hill down there ahead of us. Look, as you look into the distance, you can see the splendour of the super galleries up there, either side of the start finish straight, giving the audience a tremendous view. Doesn't look like we have a massive amount of supporters here in the late evening. They'll all be watching the YouTube, but these gantries are full. Look, you can see them. Maybe it's just the pedestrians around the circuit have gone for dinner. It is that time of day. However, we're pushing on. 28.6 seconds ahead. 15 minutes into the race. No real threat of rain at this time. We're just going to keep sliding on. So the fastest race of ours is a 2:11.816. We're 31.5 seconds ahead of Mr. Fraga, who's pursued by Portilla. Cookabun, who's never normally far away, is now in 4th. Hizal in 5th. Miss McEwen in 6th. She's pushing on high today. Mr. Beauvoir in 7th and Mr. Mendoza in 8th. We'll have to see where this goes as the evening turns into night. As we just get another purple sector here before the rain arrives. I don't think it's going to be tremendously heavy. Two racers going to the pits. Fraga on softs. McEwen is in for fuel. It looks like we're going to be able to maintain these hard tyres for a little while yet. That rain doesn't look at all threatening. He says the rain is the wind speed is still 4.4 meters per second, but it has changed slightly, pushing the clouds in a more westerly direction. So Fraga takes all the fuel and still comes out the pits in the top 8. We were almost, well, I think we were purple in the first sector, but we've just dropped to 0.6 off the target score as the rain clouds just arrive. We're all surrounded by clouds now on 3 sides. But we're just going to keep on trucking. See where the fuel takes us. We aced that line this time. Let's have a tap through. We've got 4 laps of fuel remaining. Which will probably see to us through when the rain probably does arrive. And we're just moments away now from when the first sprinkles will arrive. As we're about to start to see the first tail end cars in front of us, and we're going to start to lap those cars as we go 50 seconds ahead of the car in second place. And the rain is now just with us. For those who don't know how we measure the rain, first off we use the rain depth gauge, which is just underneath me down there. Now the rain is truly with us, but there's no rain at all on the gauge. So as we just talk about that gauge, Mr. Portilla drops into the pits for his hard tyres, and we see the first real threat of rain entering the screen. So bottom left hand corner, the rain gauge, you're going to see 3 lines above the bottom line. The first line indicates a water depth where the hard tyres no longer become, or the racing tyres no longer become the dominant tyre. Above that first line to the second line, the intermediates are advised to be the dominant tyre. So if the rain's going to stick in that area, get on to the intermediates. If the rain goes above that second line, you're going to pretty much need the wets. It's a good basic guideline. If you stick to that, I don't think you'll come unstuck. I have often made the mistake. So we're just going to skirt past, it looks like, that little rain bank that's just above us, but we're gonna probably hit the next one. So depending on what happens and where that cloud goes, we could skirt between them. We're now seeing blue flags. The cars in front of us are going to move off the racing line, and they will allow us through, or they should do, and we'll start to career past them all. I believe that'll be The third car I think we've passed. We're just lapping in the 213s, which is really quick. I'm getting a bit of force feedback on the wheel that tells me that the back end is just becoming a bit slippery. The tyre wear on the rears are now down to half. So these tyres are looking like they're going to need a replace. It looks like we're going to sneak past the last rain bank as well, so we might not be pitting for tyres, we might just be pitting for fuel and a change of hards. We're just going to have to see where that goes. There is rain on the rain gauge now, you should see that bottom left. The race tyre is still the dominant tyre, so nothing to really write home about, but we'll just get past. Was that Kawakami in the Lexus? Just starting to bring in a bit of caution with a wet track. Just start to lengthen the braking zone a little bit. You'll see the times drop off to maybe a 14 or a 15 as we start to accommodate the rain. Here comes a little bit of a splash, 2 laps of fuel. Still the dominant tyre is the race tyre. But the water is getting deeper, so just got to be a little bit cautious. But we're going to stick with these tyres. Mr. Wilk cutting... oh, we've had to go around the outside. We may get a penalty for that. It was dangerous. We didn't. No drama. It looks like the rain is going to be fairly generous to us. It's a little bit of a splash here, a little bit of a splash there. It doesn't seem really in need of intermediates, although we've just got to the intermediate line on the water gauge, trying to say it. Now I believe the engine in this car is the one that you get for the XJ220 engine swap. I think it should stay in this car really. The XJ doesn't gain a massive amount with it. Still becomes much quicker as Mr. Beauvoir goes to the pits. As we keep charging, as the rain is just not getting above that first line. And if it just sneaks over the first line, it's still not enough to make me want to change tyres. Mr. Beauvoir, Mr. Portilla go to the pits. It looks like people are going in for inters. Yeah, it looks like there's another car pitting there. We're going to keep going. One more lap on our fuel. 1 minute 29 ahead of Cookabun. Looks like we've got another bank of rain ahead of us. If that rain is going to continue coming in the direction it is, the wind has changed to a southwesterly, which will just bring that next bank of rain down to us. Oh, we are all over the shop. Just navigating our way through the wet patch. There's a gap in the cloud that we just might get through, you know. Just slow down a little bit earlier. Last lap at a 218, which is caution. This car is actually one of those that carries tobacco sponsorship but disguised. So you used to see, well, there's another car in the game, the MP44. that has a Marlboro livery without the Marlboro writing. It's the old McLaren colours from many, many years ago. Well, this car carries the silk cut livery without the writing. We're going into pit this lap, I believe. Just need to make my brain aware of that before we sail past the pits with no fuel. 0.9, yes, we won't get round another lap as we just keep it on the circuit. Let's get a look back at the rain clouds. Yeah, we're going to get a spot of rain here. And I think the pit lane is going to be a little bit treacherous. And I think we're going to be alright. It's just gone above. Just going to break that little bit of caution. There we go. Yeah, there's the warning to go to the pits. And we can see the end of the rain there on the right hand side. So let's get into the pits now and take that next set of hards. I don't think there's any need to go to inters. That could be our fateful Murray Walker moment as Cookabun, Fraga and Grady go in. We'll change tyres, we'll take all the fuel. How many minutes we've done? 33. We've almost done the full race. Full race, half the race. We'd have thought about it. We could have dropped it down to fuel map 3. These tyres would have lasted till 30 minutes. We wouldn't have got that nice fastest lap, but we would definitely have got ourselves somewhere over the 30-minute mark. And then we could have looked to make a single stop, but we could still do the same here if we wanted to. Looks like the rain is just going to persist a little while. We're going to have to be gentle coming out of the pits. See if we've got anybody around us. We are the lead car by 1 minute 50 seconds. So we weren't far off lapping the field. There's a little bit of heavy rain looking like it's coming, but we'll see if we can skirt around that maybe. That could be tragedy. But we might have a second incidence of rain, so we might just have to think about that for a little while. This could have been a chance to put the inters on and manage that last set of cloud. But then we'd have definitely had to have stopped again. Gonna get a little splash of rain now as the inters are definitely the primary tyre, but 1 minute 53 ahead of his Al, so I don't think we've really got any need to be thrashing away into the distance. And Hizal pits, giving Cookabun second place again. Just have to wait for Cookabun to come past and pick up his position as he goes past the pits. We obviously weren't the last to stop today. Hizal managing to make his fuel and tyres go very, very well. We just run wide. Just a little bit more caution required at this point of the race. Looks like we might miss that last heavy downpour as we again go wide. Slightly wetter down this part of the circuit, so got to be a bit more cautious. Hizal, Cookabun goes to the pits. Grady's gone to the pits, so that's Fraga back up to second place. 209, 204 down. Wonder where Fraga went here, and then he just disappeared for a moment. So 150. So he isn't far ahead as we're about to break out of this rain bank, and it was the right thing to do, was to stick to those race tyres. We no longer have to pit. I was worried that that next bank of rain would hit us, but I think we're good to charge on now for another 15 minutes until the rain comes again. Then we'll have to make a choice on where we're going to go on tyres. There's another car ahead of us going up Eau Rouge. Let's oh, we're going to get a penalty there, I think. Another car exits the pits. It's Mr. Grady. We get a 1 second penalty for cutting the top of Eau Rouge, which Disappointing, but hey ho, a dry line is just starting to form. I can see it in the headlights of the car. Not the best headlights, I must admit, they've been better. It's Mr. Cookabun we've just caught up to. He's in 7th place. So there's just one pit stop really between the first 7 or 8 cars. Well, between 7 and 8. Tremendous. 2 wheels on the grass just for fun. As the tyres now come back to the racing tyres, as advised by the water depth. Mr. Cookabun was definitely using full beam behind us, wasn't he? He was keeping the track illuminated. He was just making sure we knew we had a penalty, because he's going to come back on us now, isn't he? Let's charge on. That 1 second really is just a painful lift. Just a tap of the brakes. Let's just make sure we get through here. Portilla took the inters, so he's going in to take them off now, I would suggest. Dropped him from the upper end of the track to the lower. Frog has managed to take out a second or 2 out of us, as we were cautious on these race tyres. So he's dropped it down to 149. Is anybody going to come past Portilla and take that 8th place away from him? That looks like Miss McEwen in front. I think it is. We're back to 150, so it was suffering that penalty that gave Praga a little bit of time back with a lap 222. If we can get back into the 215, 216 range, that would be good. Oh, Miss McEwen. She's not going to give it up. Even with a tight squeeze on the apex, she's not going to back away. That rain now disappearing off to the left. I'd say at least 10 more minutes until we get sight of any rain. I've got a funny feeling that might be Mr. Beauvoir ahead of us in the Mercedes. Just have to check on the video that's compiling just to my left hand side. You'll have seen that before you watch this, so that little video is for the announcement of the Make-A-Wish race, the Le Mans 24 hours. And I do urge you to get in touch if you feel you're interested. It is down to you to make a team, I'm afraid. I can't help you with that. Logistically, that team has got to be within your locality. You either go to their house or they come to yours. It's up to you how you do it, but I suggest you do it with people you know and friends or family. If you're a dad with 2 kids and you think between the 3 of you can do it, do it. If you've got more kids, well done to you. All the guys now gone into the pits to take off their inters as we go flying past them through Eau Rouge. We've got the lap time back down to 2:15. Fraga's gone to the pits. Hizal now is away from the pits. Cookabun away. So we are just powering on. 24 minutes, less than 25 to go in the race. No rain on the radar, which is good. There is a little bit of cloud forming still, or is that just breaking up from the last rain? It's difficult to understand. There's definitely no sunshine yet. There's no first signs of the dawn. We'll have to see if that is going to be the case. We're facing away from the sunrise. We're looking towards the west now, so let's see as we come round and race back towards the start finish, see if we can see anything off to the right that indicates the morning sun is about to rise. Oh, there it is, look. There it is, the first shots of dawn rising above the hills. It looks like it's going to be a beautiful, clear day. A bright, bright, sunshiny day, may I say. That looks like Mr. Hizal as he carries on. Probably already taken his tyres off. Probably worth us now. Just backing off to see if we can get this fuel to get us all the way, rather than pit again if we're not going to have a massive amount of rain. Whoa, that was a move. See if we can stretch this fuel for a couple of laps. Overall it'll slow us down fractionally, but it shouldn't slow us down for what a pit stop will do. It just depends on what rain is coming. Go back to the fuel map. Rain map. Red sky in the morning. Shepherd's warning. I saw that. Tells me there's going to be rain. As they're pitting again for their tyres. What's going on there? Interesting. They can't have pitted again for tyres. Got to be the same pit event, surely. Who is this we're coming across? It's going to be a tail ender. It's not going to be Hizal. We've just overtook him. Is it Mirzano? It could be the Impreza, Subaru again. It could be. It's not. It is, it's Mirzano. We were right. Whoa, he braked there, didn't he? Cripes alive us. We were lucky. Mr. Gallo. Gone to the pits. 19th place. And a rain bank coming in from the right hand side. So now we know. No point stretching the fuel at all, but we're running 214s quicker than we were doing just after the rain, but the track's almost drying up, isn't it? This rain looks torrential. Absolute downpour by the looks of it. Yeah, it looks like we're going to get plenty of it. 2.1 meters on the wind speed, and there's some monster green in there. Braga's gone to the pits again. Why would that be the case? On Inters still. Are they killing the Inters and staying on Inters? That's the question. They're getting roughly 2 laps out the Inters and absolutely killing them. There's some rain coming, oh my lord. I think we've got to think about pitting maybe the end of this lap. Best to pit early. What are we thinking? Inters or wets? Mr. Wilk, come on. Let's have it. Braga and Puckabun on the Inters. Puckabun with a K, you nonce. Come on. Pucker bun? Is that what he makes me do? Deary me. Lots of these guys pitting for the Inters. Mendoza and Rubilar, we're going to go around the outside of them both. What a manoeuvre. One more lap. I don't know, I'm in for the pits, I think. Just take it steady. Looking at that, I think it's full wets. Doesn't matter, we're going to have to pit twice. We're going to lose a lap. We're on lap 19. We've got, what, 18 minutes remaining. So we've got the best part of 6 or 7 laps to go. There's still a chance of 27 laps. What we're not going to do, though, is suffer the consequences. We're going to take 3 more laps of fuel. We're just going to measure and manage what we do. We might burn these wets off just a little bit, but I'd rather we did that. Work from a safe place rather than a disadvantage. 10 laps, that's cool. 10 laps is 20 plus minutes, so we're good. A little bit of damage on the front left side of the car. Rubilar came in at the same time. We're just starting in the rain. The rain's just starting and it is coming down. As we go past him, we'll find out what kind of rain is going to come any minute. I think we're going to get absolutely torrential buckets. Even if it's brief, I think we're going to get some tremendous rain. That yellow's disappearing, isn't it? That's a little bit of a kick in the nudges with it disappearing like that, but let's see. I think it's only going to be an Inters condition, but hey ho. If we'd have been picked Inters, we'd have been right. But we've got wet tyres, so these will just wear a bit quicker. Looking at the rears, they're going to wear quite quickly as that water depth is starting to climb. It's still Inters weather. We're doing the right thing. Here we go. Here it comes. Yellow flag ahead. The water depth is with us. We're full into wet conditions. Inters would not have cut it. We did make the right choice. Mr. Kawakami, who is just indicating right to signal that he's going to the pits. Very good of him. Mendoza's just in ahead of him. We've not put the traction control up at this point. We're on the right tyres. Did I just hear thunder? His Al's gone to the pits. Almost 15 minutes left of the race as we're into the most treacherous conditions here. There's absolute rivers running down the hill to Eau Rouge. And we're just cutting through this beautifully. We've timed it to perfection. We could have probably done more. I don't think we'd have got round. Well, we might have, knowing that we were actually in the pits. We could have delayed that one lap, I think. If we were looking at the optimal, we could have waited one lap, I think. We didn't have the cojones to go that long. Try and keep it off the curbs, Widow. Do as you tell the people. Somebody's still on slicks by the looks of it, or are they on inters and struggling? But the inters have come back as the primary tower. Well done, Mr. Cookerbun. Puckerbun is currently puckering. Definitely is. There's Mr. Portilla in the extremely quick Viper. That looks like Mendoza, is it? Just in front. It is. We're back up to the second time we're going to lap Mr. Portilla and Mr. Mendoza. This rain is treacherous, isn't it? It's still coming down. It's keeping wets where it needs to be. I don't know how I can give you any advice as to what tyres to take. I can't read that radar. It changes tremendously all the time. It's 1 minute it's kind of indicating Fraga was on softs. Holy Chipotle. We've just got up to Beauvoir. What's Beauvoir doing? He's going to the pits. I'm guessing he's on inters. Grady's gone in. He was on softs. How do they do it? I don't know how they would. Genuinely, they can get round. His Al must have continued on softs or similar. But I don't know how he's driving in these conditions. Mendoza comes through. There's somebody coming out the pits. Red car. That's got to be the Ferrari. We haven't seen him for a while, have we? And the end of the rain is ahead of us. Mr. Bishop. Don't want to be bashing Bishop, do we? We'll just give him a bit of room. He's going to come back up the inside and then give it up. Very soon we're going to get into the drying phase of the track. That was the first sign of any danger with this car. We've really pushed it, you know. We haven't backed off with the power settings at all. We've really let this car rule the roost. It's been really easy to drive. That extra weight, that power, all seems to balance perfectly well with the car. Still in the blue water gauge. Oh, as we just run a little bit wide as we torque the car up, it's trying to go even faster, and we just need to just back it out. As we drop into 11 minutes to go. That's last lap at a 2:42 is tremendously slow, but we've had to do it. We've had to curtail our speed compared to a 2:11.816. Imagine these conditions at Le Mans in similar type cars, trying to go through the middle of the night in the absolutely pouring rain. Here we go, charging on, braking before we need to as we just slide through. We've got to brake earlier. Cutting through the field again, potentially lapping people for the third time now. Oh, it's Fraga for the second time. So we're still chasing Hizal. Hizal will be the next one on the course to lap for the second time. There is somebody round the course everywhere we go. As we're about to emerge from the rain clouds. The brightness of the sun is going to start to cut through. We'll get into a drying phase, and then we'll have to decide whether these tyres will do 4 laps. It just depends how quickly this track dries up. We might choose to take these tyres all the way to the end with 8 minutes remaining. We can't pit early because the tyres won't handle the in and out the pit, and the drying line won't be there until the tyres are ready. Some people have said go Inters, they'll be the right tyre, but we'll just have to see. So we're on to lap 23, 7 minutes 35 left. I think there's a chance here we'll get to 26. I think the slower laps in the rain have really meant that it's curtailed that extra lap. But we're now into the drying phase of the track. We can see it drying out. The rain has now dispersed, it's gone away. It's gone off to the western hemisphere. As we come through the top of Eau Rouge and start lap 23. Who are we chasing down? Is that Hizal? He's actually running on the wet part of the track, probably to try and keep his tyres in check. It's Miazano again, lapping him for the 3rd time. I didn't see who it was in 20th. Let's have a look who's up there on the top of the chart then and see if there's usual names. Maybe it was Bishop in 20th. Maybe. So Hizal's in 2nd. Braga in 3rd. Mendoza doing well in the Aston in 4th. Portilla 5th. Grady 6th. Wilkin the Ford in 7th. And Beauvoir in the AMG up in 8th. Here we go, really into a drying phase now. The track is coming back to us. The rear tyres looking a little bit unhealthy, but we'll just run them through the wet part. Try and stick to that. There's only 5 minutes left, so 3 laps at the most. As we're coming round to complete the end of lap 23. It would be right to go and get the tyres now. I think we should do that. Let's do it. It might be a mistake, but let's go to the dry tyre and see if we can hammer out a couple of final laps. No need for any fuel. Let's take the hards. Let's see what we can do. Let's see. Gloves are really starting to settle in. As we tick into the final 5. Putting the racing tyres on. You can see they were the old style slicks, the classic type slicks. Really huge. But they're the old classic type wet tyres as well. So we got 46% of fuel. We've just got to take it steady coming out here. We need to get back to the drying line. We're doing okay. Get out of there. There we go. Here we go. Now we can get back to it. It took us a minute to pit. So we're only going to get 2 more laps in. We're going to get stuck behind these cars on the not being able to go onto the wet lines, so we've had to do 3 stops, which is disappointing. See if we can get back to the finish line in a minute or so. Sneak away around the outside, little rub on the side of butt. Oh, there we go. We hit the wet patch, and it was just so unforgiving. It was a great recovery. We took out one of the polystyrene signs, didn't we? Put Mr. Grady back behind us. See if we can get lap 25 and then on to lap 26. We've got the fuel. The next lap needs to be a record lap 2:12. I don't think that's going to happen. It's going to be 25 laps for this beast. Is there room to go around Mendoza here? Yes, there might be. Get it onto the dry line. Yes, it is. Portilla and Grady went to the pits. They're taking their inters off now. It's making a decent effort of this car. It's probably the 3rd fastest car we've used. It had a better run at the conditions, didn't it, first half of the race? No real mistakes from us in terms of what we pitted for. We probably pitted a lap too early on the 2nd pit stop. If we'd have chosen to just use a slightly more conservative fuel map, we could have pitted a bit later, but then we wouldn't got a 2nd run on the tyres. So you can't really criticise yourself, because it's all about that what if situation. What if, but hey ho. I think we're coming up on Miazano again. 56 seconds to get back to the line. I don't think we're going to make it, so gearing could have been slightly shorter, I think, if we did anything different with the setup. I think balance wise the car is absolutely awesome. We had a couple of outbraking ourselves in the wet, didn't we? In the moist. Here's Miazano. He'll give us room at the most treacherous part of the circuit. There we go. "12 seconds. We're not going to make it. So this is going to be the final time through the final chicane. Braga's gone to the pits. He's just going to get lapped again, maybe. There it is. There's the clock rundown. And there we go as we enter lap 26. So 25 laps completed. Decent car. Really enjoyed that. That time flew past. But a great performance by a classic vintage Jaguar. The Pussycat keeps on rolling. Away she goes. Absolutely superb vehicle. So with overview 1 lap just ahead of Hizal, he managed to keep himself his nose in check. 2nd place lapping all the cars 2 times, all the way down to 19th. Miazano and Bishop being lapped 3 times. Fastest lap of the race was ours. a 211.816 on lap 6. I don't think we overtook under yellows, did we this time? No, 1.5 million credits. That gives us the bump we need up to... Where are we in the total credits? 8.7. We've got a little bit of way to go, but what ticket do we get? A 4-star. Can't be disappointed. There we have it. Well, it's up to you, folks. Just another recommendation for the Preza gloves from GT Amiga. They are absolutely superb. They do what they say they do on the tin. And if there's any one recommendation, buy a size bigger. They are just a fraction snug, but you'll enjoy them. They'll be great gloves. We'll see you on the next one, folks. All the best. Take care. Goodbye from me.